Dating has changed quite a bit in the last 5 years, with much of it happening online. But in the digital age, what are the do's and don'ts before, during, and after the relationship? Because there are things you do not want to do after the relationship. Here to help us sort it all out, our good friend, professional matchmaker, April Davis, everybody, from Luma Luxury Matchmaking. Welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's talk about before you actually meet the person. How long should you message before meeting, like phone, Skype, whatever?
Yeah. Well, if people are on an app, messaging back and forth, you know, it can be time consuming, and you have a lot of people that you're trying to have a lot of conversations with, so you don't want to do too much there. So I always tell people just go back and forth a little bit and then switch over to, you can do FaceTime or Skype or even a phone call. I really like FaceTime or Skype or even Google Hangouts, because that way you can actually see the person and make sure that they look like their photos.
Yeah. That is a good safety, because that way it'll prevent the surprise when when they arrive at Red Lobster and they're like, you do not look like your profile.
Right. So it's just a good time-saving measure.
How about research? Should you Google your date?
Well, I think it's important to trust, but also do your homework, right? And you don't want to do too much before you actually meet the person, because you'll start creating this fantasy of who they are, and then when you meet them, you'll realize that, yeah, it's totally different than what you thought, because you don't know. You can't tell from profiles.
Trust but verify.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Also, keep an open mind. I know what you mean by, but what do you mean in terms of a date?
Well, it's kind of the same thing, is that you don't know this person, you've read their profile, and you've made up this idea, this fantasy of who they are, really, and you just have to look and focus on the positives of the person and what you like about them, and just be open to new experiences and people having a different perspective than you.
Let's talk about during the date now. We're now there. We're during the date. Do you share anything on social media, like, hey, I'm on a date? Do you do any of that?
You know, I would definitely keep it off of social media. I get so embarrassed for some of these people that I've seen on Facebook and stuff, because it's like every flavor of the week, flavor of the month. You know, they have a different boyfriend or girlfriend.
You don't know there are people out there that do that. Audience sounds like.
And you don't want to be that person.
Yes, you do not. Yes. Audience like, I've never met anybody like that. Okay, so let's stick with social media, but now let's move after the date. Should you become, this is a good question, should you become social media friends with them right after the date? Like, you had a good date on a Tuesday, the audience is like, no. Do you friend them immediately?
You know, I wouldn't suggest that. Again, you want to keep your boundaries, and you're just getting to know the person. I think that may come in time when you are truly friends. Yeah.
Okay. Let's say it doesn't work. It's an utter disaster. It's the Hindenburg. You know what I mean? It just goes down. How do you end it? How do you not ghost?
Well, if you've just been on a few dates with someone, I think it's really the right thing to do is to you can tell them, or just send a nice text message just saying, you know what, I really enjoyed getting to know you, but I don't want to mislead you or waste your time. I think you can agree that it's just probably not a good match. And I like the part about saying I think you can agree, because it gives them the opportunity to save face. It's not like you're dumping them, you know, over text.
And I think it's all right over text if you don't want to see him again. You don't want to meet to be like, this will be the last time we ever see each other. Yeah.
Yeah, that can be very awkward.
Yeah.
And you never know, they may be able to introduce you to somebody too.
That's right. Yeah. So don't ghost. Producer Ted. Anyway, he's listening. Okay. And should you unfollow them? Like, if you did become social media friends, do you unfollow them?
Well, if you're in a relationship with somebody and then you break up, then I would say, yeah, you should go your separate ways and create some distance. And you want to, if say you didn't want the breakup, you definitely want to, you don't want to see them every day. You don't want to see what they're up to. You have to protect yourself and just go on with your life. Exactly.
You don't want to see them in your feed every day if you're the one that has a broken heart.
Right, exactly.
So when should you do it? I mean, should you, because I remember I broke up with somebody in the lobby of a hotel. And then, this audience is so sensitive.
There's no good place.
There's no good place.
There's no good place to do a breakup.
We were both meeting there, and it just seemed right. And I had to go to a charity event upstairs. Literally, I got up, I'm like, thanks. By the time I hit the elevator, I was like, unfriend, block, I was done. By the time. audience. Y'all are acting. Okay, anyway, when should you wait a little longer than I did, or what? I mean,
You know, I think when it's still raw, maybe you could wait a little bit longer. But again, you just it depends
you're
on what
so
happens.
diplomatic.
It
I
just
love it,
depends
yeah.
what happens. Of course, every situation's unique.
okay, let me. Or my final question. Let me put a positive spin on it so the audience won't throw things at me. Let's say it works. Okay, let's say producer Ted goes on a great date. Okay, and he's out with a girl named Gretchen. And he and Gretchen have a great time. They go on 3, 4, 5 dates. They decided to be exclusive, okay? When should they change that relationship status that everyone looks at? When should you change that? When should Ted change that?
I think it should be months into the relationship. When
Really?
You know for sure. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Absolutely. I see these people that every other month they have a new relationship with someone else, and it's just embarrassing. I think when
That's
you're
not
ready,
Ted, by the way. I'm just gonna say, yeah.
when you're really serious with somebody, and almost every other photo of you on social media is with the other person, then sure you can put that you're in a relationship. Especially if you are committed and you want to protect that relationship.
Yeah.
You want to deter anyone else from, hitting on you or them.
Caw, caw, caw. Vulture circling. Yeah.